Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
We're going to add a fog light kit to our Toyota Camry. The car came with some of the wiring, but not all of the components to add fog lights. So our kit comes with a wiring harness. We're going to use that wiring harness to install the fog lights onto this vehicle. We've already installed just the lamp into the bumper so you can see what we're doing. However, we'll show you how to install it on the other side, and we're going to show you how to run the wiring from this one to the other light and up to the battery and into the cabin. This is the fog light kit from oneauto.com. So it comes with a pre-made harness with connectors for the fog lamps, a power wire that goes to the battery, a ground wire. This wire will be run into the cabin to the harness that goes to the switch to trip the relay it comes with. It also comes with a fuse. The smaller harness will be run from inside the cabin to match up with this harness. It also comes with a switch for the fog lights. There's ground on this and a power. So you may need to, it does come with some zip ties. You may need to get some of your own to add some. It does come with some installation, some self-tapping screws. There are two fog lights. One is already installed in the car, but it comes with two. They're glass fog lights, one for each side, and the matching bezel for each side. You also may need to have an additional add-a-fuse. Depends on how you do the wiring. But it's a fairly complete kit. It even comes with full color instructions, but we're going to install these now. First thing we're going to do is install the fog lights into the bumper. We've already done one side, so we're going to show you how to do the driver's side because we've completed the passenger side. When we're done with that, then we'll run the wiring from the passenger side. We'll run it along the frame in the front, up into the battery, attach it to the battery, and then run it into the interior and install the switch. Disconnect the negative battery terminal. This is a 10mm nut. So for this part, we recommend jacking up the car, removing the wheel. We're going to remove this fender liner. It's got some 10mm bolts. There's one here, over here, up here. There's one down here. This is a screw that needs to be turned and then popped out. There's some push clips. We're going to take this whole fender liner out and find a body plug that we can push the harness through. Just going to remove these lower splash shields, 10mm socket. Just find any bolts and hardware that's holding them up so you can peel them down. To access behind this like fog light delete cap, whatever you want to call this, this will be the same exact as the passenger side, except you'll have the washer bottle here, so a little less clearance. It's easier to see on this side. To remove this block-off cap, I'm going to push in these tabs and then push it right out. So our bumper is already cut out for fog lights. It's got one mounting hole here. Fog light lens comes with 4. But these two tabs will slide into these slots here in the bumper. And then we'll push that one up against there. We'll use one of the supplied self-tapping screws. If your bumper's got more spots to put screws in, you can certainly put more in. But this one should hold it in well enough. And it's just self-tapping. Just gonna screw it in. Phillips head screwdriver. fog light lens is installed. We'll take our bezel with these hooks on this side, slide them into the outside of the bumper first. Bezel is in place. We start at the driver's side, take our passenger side part of the harness. It's this part with the, doesn't have any extra wires on it, just the connector for the light. I'm gonna use this opening in the front of the radiator support and push it through. Go all the way through. Just grab it. Just gonna carefully feed it through. I'm gonna go over here. Should be about the right amount. So I'm going to run it right along the front of the radiator support here. If you think there's a better way to route it when you're installing it, it's perfectly fine. Just trying to keep it up and out of the way of things. Take the other connector. There's another opening in the frame rail or the radiator support. Reach up. Push it through. Just grab it with my fingers. There we go. Take it, plug this in. So it actually has a keyway on it. Only go in one way. Push it up and lock it. I've got some extra wire, so I'm going to pull it back. Now I can pull this wire back out, pick up some of the excess. Take a couple of our supplied zip ties that came in the kit. Just going to zip tie these two wires together. I'm going to zip tie it around this hood latch support to the front of the radiator support. Before I get too far away, I'm going to cut these ends of these zip ties off. I'm going to feed this excess wire back out through the opening in the frame. So I'm going to plug this in. Again, it's keyed, so only go in one way. Now what we can do is take this wiring and we're going to feed it up and into the engine compartment. So I fed our relay and power wire and fuse. This is actually the bottom of the battery right here, but there's an opening that's going to go into the engine compartment, so I'm going to feed those up into there. So for now, I'm just going to lay them up on the top of the frame rail and pull the car down and then go up there to pull them through. But we need to install this ground wire. There's a couple grounds here for the headlights. So what I'm going to do is remove one of them, just loosen it. 10 millimeter. I'm going to loosen it just enough, slide this eyelet over. Make sure I'm not tangled up here. back down. Okay. There's a little slot here in the radiator support. And of course we've got our opening in the relay. You could put a nut and bolt through there, or I'm gonna use a zip tie. Just threading the zip tie through the relay. I'm also going to zip tie the fuse right to the relay, so it doesn't bounce around. We take our main power wire that goes to the relay. This needs direct battery power. I'm going to route it down here underneath this plastic. Caught myself on that zip tie. Just kind of pull it through. I'm laying it down along this harness, the main power harness. It's going to the battery. You go up and through this collar. You can use this 12mm ratcheting wrench. Try to loosen this terminal up. Slide this down over that. Tighten this up. Pull back the excess wire. Place this positive terminal cap. I'm just going to take a zip tie and just zip tie it up and out of the way. Just do it whatever which way works best for you, and to keep the power wire away from anything that might damage it and cause it to short. We're going to take our trigger wire for the relay. That needs to, only this part needs to go in the car. Going to run it up and over. There's actually a little hook here where the hood cable is sitting. I'll hook it right in there. And I'm going to make a hole in the rubber boot that the hood cable is going through. And I'll push this right through. So this is just a plug that's stuck in there. The cable kind of goes through like that. I'm going to take a pick. It's pretty sharp. And I'll just make a little hole right in it. I made the hole. I'll try to take a round file and make the hole a little bit bigger. Stick our connector through. There it is. Pull it through the grommet. And feed the wire into here. Back into place. Okay. So we need to connect this fuse to our original wiring harness here. We don't have any butt connectors at the moment, but if you don't have any butt connectors, these can be soldered together. So I've stripped back this wire, I've stripped back this wire, I've put a piece of heat shrink here. Got my soldering iron getting hot. I'm going to twist these together. Take the soldering iron. Car's warm. There it goes. I'm going to slide the heat shrink over. Take the soldering iron and just sort of get it close. Don't have to touch it. Just the radiant heat. So we have our trigger wire here from the relay. It's coming in from the engine compartment. We put that through the grommet. So now that's there. We need to find a spot that has power when the headlights are on for our harness, so we can trigger our relay and power our switch. We're going to use this to add a fuse. So I'm looking at the fuse panel here. Pull the cover off. Marked here is a 15 amp fuse with tail lamps. So I figured that would be a good place to tap into power because it will allow the fog lights to only come on with the headlights. And then if you shut off the headlights but forget to shut off the fog lamp switch, they will shut off at the same time and not kill your battery. So I'm going to go up into the fuse panel, pull that 15 amp fuse out. Just use some pliers. Add our plug our add a fuse in right to the fuse panel. So the fuse cover won't fit anymore. We're gonna have to put that in a safe place so you don't lose it. And the next thing to do is to obviously connect these two yellow wires together, which I've already done. We're going to route them in a safe area where they're not going to get pinched by the parking brake lever. And then we're going to find a spot to connect this ground to. This is a good place for our fog light switch. I'm going to use our plastic trim tool. You can get these from 1aauto.com. Just kind of work it in here, push out this little plastic cap. There it is. Just pops right out. Our switch is going to fit right in there, just like this. But first, I want to get this harness in there. So I think the easiest way, I already showed you where to put the add a fuse. I'm going to unplug that from the fuse panel. I'm going to unplug our yellow wire and fish these through the dashboard opening. And plug this switch in. That's where our fog light switch is going to go. I stuffed our harness in behind this trim panel. I thought maybe I could reach up behind and grab it. I can't, but you can actually pop this down without unscrewing it from the bottom. It pops right out. Gives you a little bit of space. So here's our harness, back of the switch. I'm actually going to feed this all the way down. So right down there, I'm going to pop this trim panel back up. Perfect. I want to remove this little right side kick panel because there's probably a spot where I can attach the ground here and hide some of these wires. But to remove this, I need to pop off the door sill. So I'm just gonna kind of use the plastic prying tool, get underneath it, cut kind of lift it up. It'll lift right out of place. Put that aside. This actually has a small little threaded button here. Kind of looks like a nut, but it's plastic. You can just spin it off with your fingers. This is just clipped in. Pop it off and out. There's a nice spot to attach the ground right here. This car is a remote starter, so it looks like somebody's already been in here with stuff, but that's okay. You can put the ground right there. It'll loosen this 10mm bolt, ratchet. Slide this ground underneath that. Tighten it up. Attach our yellow wire. I'm just going to feed it behind this harness here so it kind of holds it in place. Keeps it tucked out of the way. Plug it in. Move that plastic off there for just a second, just to make sure it's got good connection. It's pushed all the way in. Move that plastic down. Move the plastic insulator up and over the two of them so that stays nice and covered. You don't want it to ground out. Tuck that back up in there. We're going to plug this up and into our fuse panel. Into the spot for the tail lamps, which is up in here. I should bring this up over. Just take a razor blade, just sort of carefully cut this harness open. Once it's open, you can actually tear it. That way we can stuff these wires back up in here. Actually take this harness, loop it up, and there's a nice little pocket here. Stuff the wires in there. This up out of the way. We'll take a couple zip ties. Trim the extra zip tie. Now reinstall this cover. Put it over that stud over there. Push it into place. Let's thread this on. Install the trim. Got some push clips. I'm gonna line up with these push clips. Okay. We're going to take some zip ties and we're going to tidy up our wiring here. I'm going to take this extra wiring from our lamp and our harness, tuck it up here, zip tie it to this harness over here. Reinstall the splash shield. The reverser removal. Reinstall the undershields. We're going to turn our headlights on. The light comes on. Push it in. Turns our fog lights on. Our fog lights go out. Turn the lights off. Fog lights. Lights off.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.